Hey guys, this is Rusty again with Collector Auctions, and today I've got a short comic book haul video for you. Now, this video is going to be about books that I've been picking up locally, but not all at my local comic book shop. There are some other places as well. I did go to a nice show down in Annandale, Virginia, and I also went to Old Ellicott City here in Maryland. It's a wonderful place if you guys have never been. Lots of old shops and vintage antique stores and nice food shops, and just it's a really fun place to go. And I ended up finding something there, and I'll go over that as well. But so it's things I've found locally, and I just want to put all these into one video together because I didn't pick up a lot, and we'll go over that as well. So let's just get started. All right, let's just start with what I found at a little shop down in Ellicott City. It's a little pop culture shop. They had some comics, some Funkos, some old video games, a lot of anime type statues and everything, kind of hitting on that geek culture that's pretty popular. A little bit of, I wouldn't say everything, but a little bit of a lot of things that I find interesting. Of course, I did go through the Funkos to see if there was anything I could find, which I didn't. But I went through the comics, and they had some keys in this. It wasn't a tremendous collection, but it did have a few keys in there, and I didn't pick up some of them mostly because the condition, prices were okay, but the condition was not quite what I wanted. But I did find, it's hard not to find this most of the time when you go out to stores. I did pick up a X-Men #1, the Wolverine Cyclops cover, Jim Lee excellence here. And this looked like it was in really good shape, so I went ahead and picked that up. Can't go wrong having another copy of this. This book, once it's graded 9.8, is usually anywhere from $100 to $125. So I figured, okay, just pick up another copy. I can't say that I felt obligated to buy something, but after spending all that time down on the floor, because the bins were down low on the floor, so I was down there for quite some time, hogging up space. I wouldn't say I felt completely obligated, and this is a legitimate book, so I went ahead and picked that up. Not a huge investment there. From a local comic book shop that's not quite so local for me, but it is on my travels, I do stop off at Beyond Comics over in Frederick, Maryland, and I ended up buying a few new comic books, which I don't actually have in the video here, just some new things that just had come out. But what I'm going to show you is the back issues I picked up. I found a really nice copies of Marvel Comics Presents 81 and 78. This is part of that Wolverine origin, the Barry Windsor Smith excellent series, given the origin of Wolverine. And I have been really trying to find 9/8 candidates for every one of these issues. What's funny is I've got a 9/8 on issue 72, which is the one you want. That's a really, really nice one to have. You got to have a 9/8. You got to have a 9/8 on all these to be worth anything. The first issue is worth more than the others, of course, but you've got to get a 9/8 if you're going to grade this. You've got to get that on these, because it won't be worth your time if you get a 9/6 or lower. It's just the way the economy is right here. Maybe at some point, if they finally get around to really bringing Wolverine into MCU and he becomes more out in public for the general public, and Wolverine property is hot again, not just in the comic book community, but out in the general public. Hugh Jackman, if they do something else with him, who knows. But these are the books. Maybe they'll go up in value at some point if you get lower grades. But again, what I'm looking for are near perfect copies that I can do a little bit of clean and press to, send them in, and hopefully get those 9/8s. So I found a couple copies of those at the store. They had some other nice things on the wall, but I don't know. I'm going through this phase right now where I'm pulling back it's funny. I'm pulling back a little bit in some circumstances, but I'm not in others. It seems like I'm still buying some things on Heritage Auctions. I'm still on Whatnot, picking up some things from certain dealers. But what I found myself when I stop off the shop is, like, I wasn't going to go in there and just drop money just to do it. It's going to be pretty selective, and they had a Spider-Man I was interested in, an issue of that I was kind of needed to talk to the owner about a little bit, but he wasn't available, so I let that one go, and it was not cheap, so I needed to basically negotiate a little bit, and the regular workers there couldn't do that. The owner needed to do that, so I have to wait on that. So I decided just pick up a couple things and move on. So got a couple of really nice issues of Marvel Comics Presents from Beyond Comics. And then I went down to Annandale, Virginia. They have a Firehouse Show down there. And I believe the show promotions is Shof. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. It's like Shoef, I believe. Promotions. He does shows down in Annandale. He does them in Frederick. And the show in Frederick's usually a big, giant comic book show. It's a mini con. But down in Annandale, they do a half trading card, sports cards, and the other half is comic books. But so you don't have as many comic book dealers, but you actually have some really good dealers down there, and some of them that I'm very familiar with and enjoy talking to, enjoy getting books from. But I don't know, I think this mood carried over, that I just wasn't in a buying mood. I think part of it was my wife was out in the car waiting for me to finish so we could go on a little 2-day trip. We were getting ready to go on vacation. And it's not that I was being rushed, but I felt like I was needing to be rushed. I needed to rush through it. And so I went through the show, talked to everybody that I know there, and I ended up like, again, I wasn't just going to buy stuff to buy stuff, and I was being really selective. I There's the guys from Pop-Up Comics that I love. I love their books. I love most everything right there. But I don't know. It was one of those things where they had some really good books that I was really interested in, but just a couple ticks here and there, and it just kind of like, I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna keep my powder dry, and I'll wait. I'll come back to another show. We'll find something else. So I didn't end up buying a lot from the show. I ended up finding a couple books from one other dealer. And again, I wonder if this was a case where I just picked up a couple books just to not walk out empty-handed. I guess I should try to get over that as well. But from one dealer, I ended up picking up a really nice copy of Dazzler #1. Now, I've got this book. I don't think I've dug it out of my collection to actually press. But this, especially with the black border right here, this one looked really sharp. So I was like, okay, fine. I'll take that and see if I can work with it. And I didn't even do a lot of spec work on this to see how valuable this is or anything, but it wasn't very expensive. And then he had a really, really nice copy of American Flag #1 by Howard Chaykin, and one of my favorite series from back during my college days. And I got this because I thought, well, maybe I'll take this to the Baltimore Comic Con and get him to sign it. And then I started going through my collection over this last week, and I realized I've already got this signed. But this is a nice book, a few bucks, nothing major. So this is it. This is not one of those really super exciting comic book haul videos, but it just sort of talks. I kind of want you, what I want you guys to take away from it is, like, you don't always have to feel like you go into any place and you have to buy a lot or really just about anything. Now, I felt like I needed to, in a couple of cases, needed to buy at least something. To make up for the amount of time I spent there doing things. And the books are still good, don't get me wrong. But I just was not in the mood to really be shopping. And yeah. So I picked up a few good books, not a lot. So hopefully you find this a little bit useful, so you don't feel like you need to go out and just spend money. You go to a shop, you can walk away from some of this stuff. You don't have to just buy stuff all the time. So that's it. Short video again. Hope you enjoyed these books. Hope you like what I'm picking up. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And thank you guys who have already subscribed. I appreciate the support. And I will see you for the next one. Take care.